Welcome to Flyp Academy. In this video we're going to delve into the theme of oppositions in Romeo and Juliet. This is a very common question in the GCSE exam, so it's crucial to develop a really solid preparatory essay plan. We're going to structure this essay quite simply, with all the key points you need for the following question. Let's look at a question you may be asked on the exam. How does Shakespeare explore the concept of oppositions in Romeo and Juliet? In your introduction, you may briefly touch on the following points that we'll be covering this video. Love and hate, family loyalties, individual desire, and internal conflict. The deep-seated enmity between the Montagues and Capulets and the background setting for opposition this generates in the play. The recurring juxtaposition of light and dark imagery. As always, don't spend more than a sentence or two on each point, and make sure you're using literary devices that connect the points together. Given these points, we could conclude our introduction with a statement such as the following. Given these points, we could conclude our introduction with a statement such as the following. The major oppositions in Romeo and Juliet, including the Montagues and Capulets, love and hate, and light and dark, form the foundation of dramatic tension and conflict in the play, driving the narrative and highlighting the destructive power of division and unresolved conflicts. This statement sets the frame of the essay and the points you will later delve into. Now let's look at some of the stronger arguments you can make, alongside their relevant quotes and analysis. First, let's look at this quote and examine its meaning within the context of the play. Love represents beauty, purity, and the potential for unity, while hate represents violence, division, and the tragic consequences of unresolved conflicts. Shakespeare uses the literary device of dramatic irony, as Juliet is unaware of Romeo's presence when she utters these words. The audience knows the truth about Romeo's identity, which intensifies the dramatic tension and foreshadows the challenges that lie ahead for the young lovers. The use of paradox in the phrase creates a juxtaposition of contrasting ideas and emphasizes the conflicting emotions and the complex nature of Romeo and Juliet's love. This short quote captures the essence of their relationship, which is both beautiful and tragic and full of oppositions, as it flourishes amidst the backdrop of a bitter feud. Furthermore, for another example of the juxtaposition of love and hate, take a look at the following quote from Act 1, Scene 1. Here Romeo expresses his conflicting emotions upon learning about the Capulet party. The oxymoronic phrases brawling love and loving hate encapsulate the paradoxical nature of his feelings and is another example of Shakespeare employing dramatic irony. The opposition between love and hate is a recurring motif in the play, representing the turbulent and contradictory aspects of human emotions. It foreshadows the challenges Romeo and Juliet will face as they navigate their forbidden love amidst a backdrop of hostility and violence. The next important point we should discuss is perhaps the most obvious opposition in Romeo and Juliet, the deep-seated enmity between the Montagues and Capulets. Take a look at the following quote from Act 3, Scene 1. This is said by Mercutio, of the Montague clan, during a heated exchange with Tybalt, a member of the Capulet family. The use of swords and fencing terms in this quote carries symbolic meaning. Specifically, alla stoccata refers to a specific fencing move, symbolizing violence and aggression. It represents the clash of swords and the physical confrontation between the Montagues and Capulets. The reference to Tybalt as a ratcatcher is derogatory, implying that he is a troublemaker and a source of conflict. Furthermore, the line "O calm, dishonorable, vile submission" employs a metaphor. Mercutio criticizes Romeo's attempt to avoid a fight with Tybalt as a dishonorable and weak act of submission. It highlights the clash between honor and the desire for peace, emphasizing the deep-rooted opposition between the two families. The entire quote showcases the verbal duel between Mercutio and Tybalt, and primarily the insults and provocations exchanged reflect the ongoing tension and animosity between the Montagues and Capulets. In summary, this quote exemplifies the intense rivalry and opposition between the Montagues and Capulets. Mercutio's refusal to back down and his confrontational stance symbolize the defiance and pride of the Montagues, and Tybalt's aggression and refusal to walk away represent the relentless animosity of the Capulets. The last significant point to analyze in this essay is how Shakespeare uses the oppositions of light and dark imagery to heighten the sensation of contrasts. Take a look at the following quote from Act 1, Scene 5. Juliet laments, "O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?" Captures her longing for Romeo, emphasizing their separation and the darkness that surrounds their love. The phrase "wherefore art thou" suggests that Romeo's name, his association with the Montague family, is the obstacle keeping them apart. This opposition between light and dark reflects the secrecy and forbidden nature of their love, as it exists in the shadows and undercover of night. Juliet's plea to Romeo to deny thy father and refuse thy name symbolizes her willingness to cast off the darkness associated with their respective families and embrace the light of their love. The name Montague represents the darkness of their feuding families, while Juliet desires Romeo to reject his family identity and the conflicts that come with it. The symbolism of names suggests that their love can transcend societal divisions and bring light into their lives. Shakespeare employs the literary device of paradox in Juliet's plea, or, "If thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet." The paradox lies in Juliet's proposal that if Romeo swears his love to her, she will cease being a Capulet. This contradiction highlights the power of love to transcend opposing forces and transform their identities. Furthermore, this foreshadows the tragic consequences that await the young lovers as their love becomes a catalyst for the play's conflicts. Now that we have covered the key points about how Shakespeare presents various oppositions in the play, you should also be aware that you need to mention some contextual points to achieve the highest possible grade. Although you don't want to include the following analysis as a paragraph or argument by itself, consider how these contextual points and other ideas may be embedded within your written essay. During the Renaissance, Italy was divided into various city-states, each with its own ruling families and factions. The play reflects the social and political realities of the time, where feuds and conflicts between noble families were not uncommon, and so the conflict between the Montagues and Capulets can be seen as a reflection of the power struggles and rivalries that existed among the aristocratic families in Renaissance Italy. The rivalry between the Montagues and Capulets may have been inspired by historical feuds, such as the ongoing conflict between the Guelphs and Ghibellines, two opposing factions in Italy during that period. The concept of honor and family pride was highly valued in Renaissance society, so the preservation of one's reputation and lineage often took precedence over personal desires and relationships. The strict social hierarchy of the time, with its emphasis on class and lineage, influences the dynamics between the characters and the obstacles they face in their love for one another. When writing a conclusion, your aim should be to quickly and succinctly consolidate your points and final argument. When discussing this theme, we urge you to not add extra points, ideas, or contextual information to your conclusion that you haven't already discussed. Whereas in the introduction you framed what's to come, in your conclusion you simply fuse your analysis to hit home your argument. This concludes our video analyzing how Shakespeare explores the motif of oppositions in the play. In the following videos we will be doing more character study analysis, looking at themes and motifs, and essay plans for these topics.